Okay, good morning. Would you introduce yourself, sir? Tell us your name and DOC number.
Kenard Metoyer, my DOC number is 387266.
Say your last name again?
Kenard Metoyer.
Metoyer. Okay, I was saying Metoyer. Metoyer. Mr. Metoyer. My name is Cheryl Renatza. This is Mrs. Pearl Wise. We have Mr. Pete Freeman. He'll be joining us in a moment, but we're going to go ahead and get started, sir, with some preliminaries. In front of you, you should have a parole revocation questionnaire.
Yes, ma'am.
Is that your signature at the bottom of that page, dated July 27, 2023?
Yes, ma'am.
So based on your answers to the questions on that questionnaire, it was determined you're not eligible for appointed counsel. So you ready to proceed this morning?
Yes, ma'am.
So I want you to know we have some guests that have joined us. Your mother, Ms. Lula Williams, and your ex-girlfriend, Mia Ogwin, are both, she's here also, and both of those individuals would like to speak on your behalf, and we'll ask them to do so at the appropriate time. First, I'm going to read the allegation, and then you'll plead guilty or not guilty, and then we'll talk about it, okay? So, Mr. Metoyer, you're accused of violating condition number 4 of your parole conditions. And it reads, you engaged in criminal conduct on or about July 24th, 2023, as evidenced by your arrest by the East Baton Rouge Sheriff's Office for domestic abuse battery. How do you plead to violating condition number 4?
Plead guilty.
I'm sorry, what did you say, sir?
I plead guilty.
Okay. So you were released on good time in June 16th of 2023, right?
Yes, ma'am.
This all happened in July of 2023, so less than a month later.
Yes, ma'am.
Now I do see where it was dismissed by the state, and it's your preliminary hearing. You didn't indicate to your parole officer, or the hearing officer rather, your plea of guilty or not guilty. Why wouldn't you cooperate at your preliminary hearing?
It wasn't that I didn't cooperate with him. I told him I wanted the victim wanted to speak on my behalf. The victim wanted to speak on my behalf, and I told him, I'm not saying that it didn't happen, but she spoke on my behalf, and she helped me to get the charges dismissed. So in court. So I said I wanted to take a chance with y'all, and that's why I got on my behalf.
Okay. So I do note that at your preliminary hearing, you did admit that you put your hands on her, and the victim, you worked at the LaBerge Casino, and you worked in the kitchen. I mean, one of the restaurants.
Yes, sir. I was a lead cook in one of them.
And she also worked at that restaurant.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And at the time, is that Miss Ogwin?
Yes, ma'am.
And at the time, she was your girlfriend, and y'all have been together about a month. Tell us in your words what happened that day or night, whatever it was. What happened?
Well, we had been having conversation, and we got into a heated argument, and I just let my anger take the best of me at that time, and I slapped her and bust her nose.
Why'd you do that? Why did you react that way, I guess is what I'm trying to get at.
Because I feel like I probably became overwhelmed, and I can't handle like situations like that, arguing. I'm just being frank, and have you
ever had any anger management classes when you were how much time did you do?
I had stayed locked up 3 years.
Yeah, and you never had any anger management classes? Where were you? Where'd you do your time?
I did the majority of my time in East Baton Rouge Parish Prison. Work release.
You worked at LaBerge for work release?
Yeah, I stayed and I had worked like 22 months, and I got promoted and all that once I got out to a lead cook.
No class?
No, ma'am, I never had it.
If you were confronted with that same situation today, whatever the discussion or argument was about, how would you handle it?
I would walk off because I had time to think about it, but it was just, when I don't handle a situation like when I become overwhelmed. This the first time, I'm gonna be honest with you, this the first time I ever came home and just really tried to change my environment and everything, you know? I'm used to just getting out, just,
Doing the same thing.
yes, ma'am, this the first time I ever tried to, do the right thing.
You're a 6th felony offender.
I know.
So, and how long had you held the job at LaBerge? You say you had it in work release.
It's like 25, like 2 years.
Let's see if I can see. Yeah, it looks like when you were at East Baton Rouge, you went there
Yes, ma'am.
in August of 21, maybe.
Yes, ma'am. Right at 2 years.
So if you, well, we're going to hear from your guests in a minute, but if you were successful today, you weren't revoked, and I don't know what I'm going to do with you because your record concerns me. What would be your plan? What would be your, where would you live? Where would you work? How would you stay out of jail?
I have a few options. My mother used to be a plant manager at a company where she was at called Alliance, and I could go back there. My nephew wanted me to come work with him also. I have another friend that's over Chili's. He's the manager, and he told me I could come work for him, knowing the experience I got. And the people at the Birds, they still, would give me a job if I were to go back. But, I want to try to work on myself, but it wouldn't take me long to get and then I weld, and I know how to weld too.
You learned that in DeQuincy?
No, ma'am, I'm in EBR work release.
Okay.
I'm in EBR Parish Prison.
No, I know. When the welding, you said you learned welding, you learned that in
I took that at DCI.
Okay.
I learned that trade in DCI and also carpentry too.
So you did all that, but you didn't take any self-help kind of programs other than, the vocational skills training. Seemed like you could have benefited from it.
Yeah, but every time I went, it was like every time I get in the program, they shift me.
I do see you've been around. You've been in Natchitoches a lot. All right. Let us hear any questions. No. Let us hear from your mother. Miss Lula, could we hear from you, ma'am? Well, it looks like she was trying to join, but she's not here now. Is Mia on with us? Yeah, I see. Go ahead, Mia. We'd like to hear what you'd like us to know.
My experience with Mr. Metoyer was not all bad. That one particular situation for me does not determine how I see him as a human being as a whole. I do believe he can offer something if he's given the proper chance. I do agree about some type of anger management programs to be put in, because of course, if you have been placed in hostile situations for so long, that's the only way you know how to deal with them. So maybe for him, he needs just a different avenue, something that he can actually dedicate himself to, because I do believe in his heart of hearts, he is a good person. I'm not a bad judge of character. And in that moment, we did have a heated discussion. And before he hit me, he did say, please stop. So he had a moment to think, and he knew that he was going to be upset. And so he said, please stop. And I didn't. That's not to excuse his behavior. That's just to say he knows when he's going there. So if he get the proper tools to say, okay, how do I manage it if this situation happens again? Maybe the situation won't happen again. So.
Right. Thank you, ma'am.
Mm-hmm.
Mr. Metoyer, anything you want to say to us?
I would like to ask y'all if y'all could I have a second chance? Or, this really the first time I'm honestly saying that I got out. I changed my environment. I tried something productive and I just got overwhelmed and I ended back up in here.
So when you were at work release there, I guess you were in East Baton Rouge. They don't offer programs while you're in work release?
They offer them, but my schedule didn't permit for me to take the classes like they go, and I can't.
They always in the daytime?
I work the morning shift, and the classes are in the morning. And the days they have the classes, I be at work. And the way they got it set up, I can't go to the classes and miss work. You know what I'm saying? Yes, ma'am.
Well, do they have, Mr. Murphy, do you know if they have anger management class there?
I believe they do, but I'm not 100% certain. I can, let me make a call right quick.
Okay.
They have them at the work release back there, but they don't have it here.
Yeah.
Well, Mr. Metoyer, we've already decided that if you're in work release, I was gonna try to help you out and give you, ask that you do some more work release, but I want you to be, and at the same time, take the anger management course so you get that under your belt. So I know you get it, but you're saying if you're in work release, you can't necessarily have the opportunity to take the anger management, and I think that's critical for you.
Work release has anger management classes, right? Do we?
But I could get it set up to where, like, if I get a job,
Seeking safety.
they can set it up to where I'll be
So
off
we
on
don't
them
really
days.
have anger management
The
classes.
job, y'all can work ahead of time with the employer.
Yeah.
Okay,
Okay. All
let me
right.
hear what Mr. Murphy has to say.
All right. I just talked to Sergeant News and Classification, and he said the only thing close to any type of anger management that we have here at the parish prison is the seeking safety. He said, but that's not really anger management.
Okay. All right.
But they do they work release.
All right. Well, thank you for checking. I appreciate that. Mr. Metoyer, I would, based on the information that was provided by Ms. O'Gwen, and you were very honest with us with what happened. I have to admire that because we hear all kinds of excuses all the time. So I appreciate your honesty. I am going to recommend, I'm going to say, do not, in lieu of revocation rather, that you do 6 months in work release. And I'm going to try to see if my colleagues agree. We'll see how they vote. If that's the vote, we'll get you to a work release facility that has anger management. I think that's critical for you to have before you go back on the street. So that's my vote. In lieu of revocation, 6 months in work release, and at the same time complete an anger management course.
Likewise, sir, I appreciate how you presented today. And I like your answer. When you were asked if this happened again, what you would do. I really appreciate that. So my vote is the same for the same reasons. I'll just speak up and ask for help. And like you said, just walk away. Walk away.
Mr. Freeman.
I concur with the recommendation.
All right, we're gonna try to help you out, Mr. Metoyer. Help you make a better decision next time. Good luck to you, sir.
Thank y'all.
All right, Mr. Murphy, that concludes our business at East Baton Rouge. Thanks so much for accommodating us. We're signing out.